Just wanted to take 2 seconds to thank my YouTube members and my Twitch subscribers. I can't even believe looking at this list. It's blowing my mind right now. So thank you so much. I love you all. All right, back to the video. What is up, everyone? Man, I've been playing so much Destiny that it's been hard to step away and make videos. I'm just having such a good time, but here we are. Hopefully you've been having a good time as well. Now that the exotic class items have been released and I've gotten a decent amount of them to drop, I figured I could now start really focusing on putting prismatic builds together. This one is awesome, and I'm just calling it the Meteor Storm Titan. This build centers around Consecration, which is just the best melee right now on Prismatic Titan, maybe even the whole game, because it is just so good for almost any type of enemy, whether it be a regular enemy, a boss, it doesn't matter. As with many good Titan builds, you can expect lots of close quarters combat, but don't worry, you'll be able to take out tons of enemies very easily, all while staying topped up on HP and overshield, just being really tanky while playing this build. Just kind of an overview, our melees are capable of creating tangles, fire sprites, ionic traces, orbs of power, which will all serve to keep our Transcendence time up as often as possible, abilities ready to go, and weapons surged to do more damage. And yes, I will be using the new Stoicism exotic class item, which you should absolutely be going for, but if you don't have it yet, don't worry, you can still run this build. I'll show you some substitutes of regular exotics that you can try out. All right, let's break this down a little bit. Obviously, the build will center heavily around our melee, so let's go over what all it can do for us and how we can buff it up. You want to choose Frenzied Blade as your melee option since you'll get 3 charges, which is crazy, and by default, it's just a good melee and it will still be helpful to us. But what we will be wanting to use more of most of the time is the Consecration melee, which will be our first aspect. When sliding, that Frenzied Blade melee will actually convert to Consecration, which will have us launch up in the air, will send a flame wave forward that will scorch enemies, and pressing melee again will have us slam down and ignite anything that was just scorched. It does insane damage and it's just awesome. And we can boost both melees even further by choosing Knockout as the second aspect. Critically wounding an enemy or breaking their shield in any way will increase your melee range and damage. This damage increase is 50%, and triggering this is so easy. You'll be critically wounding enemies and breaking shields constantly, whether it be from melees or weapons, it doesn't matter. The second part of Knockout is also amazing in that getting melee kills will firstly make us amplified, which will give us 30% damage resistance through the Galvanic Armor artifact mod on top of what Amplify already does. And if that wasn't good enough, every melee kill will heal you. It's a flat heal for the tier of enemy that you kill, but most of your Consecration slams are going to be multi-kills, so full heals happen all the time. And to make this melee even more insane, we've also got our Stoicism exotic class item. Don't feel like you have to get the exact one that I have here, but this one is pretty good. I've got Spirit of Inmost Light and Spirit of Contact. Spirit of Contact is what I want to cover mostly here. Any powered melee that we do, whether it be Consecration or Frenzied Blade, will jolt enemies, making it even better for ad clear. Seeing the combo of both ignitions and the jolts is incredibly satisfying, obviously very powerful. So yeah, just really easy ad clear. The other exotic perk I got was Spirit of Inmost Light, which is really good for ability regen, but feel free to experiment with other stuff here if you want to. There are a lot of great combos. Spirit of Syntheseps is nice, but almost not even necessary because you'll be one-shotting almost everything anyway, so any extra damage isn't as useful most of the time. If you don't have the Stoicism exotic class item, try and use something like Heart of Inmost Light for ability regen, maybe Pyrogale for buffed Consecration slams, or of course you can use Syntheseps. If you feel like you need more damage, just do that. You might have also noticed that I'm getting an overshield here occasionally as well. That is coming from Facet of Purpose, which is another fragment that will give us Woven Mail, Frost Armor, or a Void Overshield when picking up an Orb of Power, depending on what your currently equipped subclass is. In this case, we've got Twilight Arsenal, aka Void, so we're going to get an Overshield. Another artifact perk I have on here is Shield Crush, which will give us 25% more melee damage when we have an Overshield. This ends up being about 87% increased melee damage when Knockout and Shield Crush are active, which is awesome. So we've got a Scorching, Igniting, and Jolting melee with Consecration, or a Severing and Jolting melee with Frenzied Blade, all of which will generate elemental pickups, orbs, and will be phenomenal for ad clear. What's nice is both melees will serve as a way to recharge both of our Transcendence bars. If you need more light energy, use Consecration. And if you need more darkness energy, it's a little bit more work with Frenzied Blade because, as you can see, the jolt will just kill them, giving you more light energy. but we create a tangle on every Frenzied Blade kill, use that with Facet of Honor to destroy a tangle to get more darkness energy, and then also combo that with Threaded Blast, where when you destroy a tangle with a strand weapon, it creates a larger and more damaging explosion, giving you a ton of darkness energy. In order to take advantage of Facet of Honor with those elemental pickups, we obviously have to be able to create them first. So to do that, we will use Facet of Awakening. Awakening will generate elemental pickups based off of which elemental type multi-kills we get from any source too, which is nice. So melee, grenade, weapons, super, whatever you want. If we get a multi-kill from Consecration, for example, we will generate a Fire Sprite. Frenzied Blade will generate a Tangle. And yes, Ionic Traces will be created from the jolted AoE kills we get from Spirit of Contact. So that's 3 elemental pickups just from our melee. So this makes it super easy to just not think about anything. You play normally, melee everything, and all the elemental pickups will just appear for you. And man, Transcendence is so much fun on Titan. The electrified snare grenade will just suspend and jolt anything caught in it, making it a great ad controller and ad clearer. All energy is recharged significantly faster when you're Transcendent, making it really easy to spam both the electrified snare grenade and your Consecration. Whatever you want, just go to town. As long as there are enemies for you to kill, you can pretty much keep Transcendence going. And I said this build was tanky. I wasn't lying. On top of all the healing that we get from all those melees, at 100 resilience, which you should be going for, that is a 30% damage resistance, just flat. Facet of Protection, another fragment, will give us 15% damage resistance, which comes out to 42% combined with 100 resilience. Galvanic Armor, that artifact perk I mentioned earlier, gets you 30% more DR while amplified, which only requires a melee kill and it lasts 15 seconds, so this should be up all the time for you. This takes us up to 58% DR. And we talked a little bit about getting a Void Overshield from Facet of Purpose, which obviously gives us more HP and reduces incoming damage by another 50% while active, taking our total to 71% total DR. And to cap it all off, going Transcendent gives an additional 20% DR, so we now officially hit that DR cap of 80%. We're a little over actually, with all this put together being over 83%. All of this is really easy to do. Just pick up orbs, be around enemies, get melees to become amplified, and go Transcendent. All stuff that you're just going to be doing naturally all the time. And if you're in a fire team, you can still pick up things like Woven Mail if anyone can give that to you, so lots of ways to get a lot of DR. Next up, we'll talk a little bit about Orbs of Power, which are obviously very key to the build, so let's talk about how to generate them. We'll obviously want to bring a heavy-handed mod on the gloves to generate one on a melee kill. Pick a siphon of your choice to get one on multi-kills, and you can also use a Reaper mod on your class item to get another orb to drop when getting a weapon kill after using your class ability. Use these orbs to get your Void Overshield, replenish all ability energy through Absolution, recover HP through Recuperation, and get armor charge from surges. So orbs are very useful for you here. You want to pick them up anytime you see them. And as for just some other things in the build, use whatever grenade you prefer here, but I personally like using the Shackle grenade because Suspend is just really good, and it can actually deal a decent amount of damage, which helps refill that Dark Transcendence meter. Facet of Balance is the final fragment that I have on this build. You can feel free to swap it out with something else if you want. I prefer this for the increased melee and grenade energy regeneration, which is very easy to get, but you could also use something like Facet of Ruin, which will increase the Consecration blast radius. Up to you. Another artifact perk that you will absolutely want here is called Transference, which gives you 10% bonus grenade damage and melee damage while you are Transcendent. That's great, we'll take it. But also, if you can get weapon kills while you are Transcendent, you'll actually get bonus energy back once you exit Transcendence. So you can get up to 50% energy for both light and dark right when you exit Transcendence. So it's a very easy way to keep that Transcendence uptime. Twilight Arsenal is our super. I haven't talked about it too much because it's not the main part of the build, but you can feel free to use it when you have it up, just because we're getting our super back so often because we will have a hands-on mod on our helmet. So very fun to use. Your teammates can pick up the axes and use them as well. As far as weapons goes, thankfully you don't have to feel like you need to use a specific weapon to be good. Microcosm is great because it's a kinetic heavy weapon. You'll be able to generate light and dark Transcendence energy. It's not necessary. What you really want to focus on is add clear weapons to generate those elemental pickups. So Incandescent for fire sprites, Volt Shot for ionic traces. use that type of stuff in order to keep your Transcendence up as much as possible. But guys, this has been the Meteor Storm Titan, my favorite build I've ever made. I gotta say, it's so much fun. I love it. Hope you all enjoy it. If you have any questions, leave me a comment down below. But other than that, I will see you in the Discord, the next video, or the next live stream.